everybody, it's Junkyard here, and I decided to go ahead and make another Cooking with Junkyard. I know I haven't made one for a while, so I figured, what the heck. I am making a fun little recipe. It is Hamburger Stroganoff. Not beef stroganoff, not with like steak or tri-tip or something like this. This is with hamburger. It's a little bit, obviously, a little bit more cost effective, and it comes out really good and it's a lot of fun. So, come on along for the ride. Alright, first thing you want to do is get yourself some egg noodles. Now, egg noodles, pretty basic, egg noodles. And in the meantime, go ahead and get some hot water going. We're going to go ahead and get some salted hot water to a boil, and that's ready when you're ready to throw the egg noodles in. Thus, you're set to go. And again, it's about 8 ounces, but I'll have all the measurements and all the ingredients down below. Okay, now here's a little strange part, but it's actually pretty cool. You get your butter in here. As you can see, it's melting. And then you want to get this, let me get some tongs out of here. And get this all around the pan. And then what you do, you actually want to salt the pan. You want to actually throw salt in there. That is kosher salt. So get kosher salt and butter. And then what you want to do is you just go ahead and start putting the hamburger right in here. And don't stir it. It's not like ground, you know, like when you're making tacos or something, or a hamburger helper or something like that, or whatever else you may be cooking where you want to stir the meat up. You actually just want to put these little tiny meatballs, see, we got a whole bunch of them over here, into the pan, and you got to leave them alone. So, see, I'm only cooking a little bit. And look, there's a lot more. Don't crowd the pan. You don't want to crowd it at all. Now I'm using, this is a, it's a leaner meat as far as hamburger. This is like 85-15 as far as fat ratio. You can really use anything. Obviously, the more fat you use, the more grease and fat you're going to have in your pan. You're probably going to want to pour that out after a little while because it's going to start collecting on you. You don't want to pour all of it out because you want some of that flavors. Alright, now, again, this is it's an easy recipe. It's just a little tedious. So now you actually want to try to get a little bit of salt on each one of these little puppies, as you can see. And then you start flipping them over. Because again, you want to try to brown the whole thing. And that's why you need the extra room, because it makes it easier to flip them over. Just like so. Because if it was too crowded, I end up getting lazy towards the end, and I'll start probably putting more in the pan. And once they're browned up, literally, you take them out. You take them all out of the pan. And then you repeat the process. Again, it's an easy recipe. It's just a little time consuming, but it's really good. In the meantime, while that stuff's cooking on the stove there, we're going to cut up one onion. You dice it up. Nice little chunks. Alright, we are taking the last of the meat out. Now I did, it ended up being like 5-6 batches. And as you can see, I got it all right here in this. I got it in a bowl where you just put it aside to the side. Side to the side. Just put it aside. And then what you want to do, now again, if you're using meat that has a little bit more fat, drain some of the fat out of there. But if there's only a little bit, see, I only got a little bit of fat in there, not a lot. Just leave it in there as flavor. Then what we're going to do is you're going to turn the heat down and get all this meat out of here. Okay, then you want to turn the heat down to medium or low. On this stove, it's about 4 is good, and then you throw all the onions in there. So once you get the onions in there, you want to go ahead and scrape all the bottom of the pan. You want to get all those drippings and the meat out of the bottom of the pan, and then you cook it until they're transparent, and then you transfer this to the meat. Now again, all the onions are there. Now we're at this point where pan's still going good. You got the water boiling. So this is where you want to add about 8 ounces of your noodles. While the noodles are cooking, this is where you want to go ahead and start making your sauce. So here in this pan, we're going to go ahead and turn the heat back up again to about 6. Okay, now as far as a couple substitutes that sometimes you got to use, well, because you just don't have the stuff in the house. For example, I always get cans of mushrooms. Always a good thing to have around the house. And also parsley flakes. Now, obviously I would rather have fresh mushrooms and fresh parsley. It's a lot better to use, and that's actually what you will see in the recipe, to use fresh stuff, but I was a bonehead, and when I went to the store I forgot to get them, so we'll just have to substitute with this. It's still going to be so good. Then we're going to add a tablespoon of butter in there, and then we're going to go ahead and throw the mushrooms in there. We're going to brown those up. Now these don't brown as easily, obviously, as fresh mushrooms would, but they do the job. Okay, now the mushrooms, you see, they're pretty brown. So now you're going to go ahead and pour 1/3 of a cup, or the measurement of whatever it is, the white wine or sherry. If you don't have either one of those, you could always use water. I'm actually just using cooking wine. You're going to let that boil. You want to let it reduce to about half. It's going to boil it away, and once it starts to get about a half, turn your heat down. Okay, now it reduced. You turn this down to low, and you remove it from the heat. Take it off the heat, because now you want to add the sour cream, and if you were cooking the sour cream at the same time, potentially you could curdle it, and you don't want to do that. Alright? So I got to scrape the bottom of the pan a little bit here. Make sure I get all that leaven out of there. Alrighty, good, 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 good. Now you add your sour cream and your paprika. And stir that up. You want to get a nice cream going here. And then you move it back to the low heat and just stir this up. Again, now if it's a little too thick, which this is, I want a little bit thinner consistency. You could add some water to it, a little bit more of that. You could always add the wine, but you really don't want to do it. You want to add a little water. Because you want a good little sauce. So I'm going to add a little bit of water to it. Get this nice, and remember, you don't want to heat it too much. You don't want it to curdle. You add your lemon juice, and then you add your mixture. That's the meat and the onions back into this whole thing. And you mix all that loving together here. Oh yeah, doesn't that look good? And again, this is where you would add fresh parsley. Again, I don't have any, so I'm just going to add a little bit of parsley there. So noodles are done, so let me go ahead and get that drained. Alright, then you get the noodles and you pour the meat right on top of the noodles there. Stir that baby up just a little bit there. Get that in there. Oh. And this is heaven in a bowl. Hamburger Stroganoff. You'll love it. Thanks for watching. Needless to say, keep gaming.
Hey, if you didn't get a chance to answer my quickie question, make sure you click on the link here and watch my last video in regards to my quickie. Also, keep a watch out for Kill Cam. It's coming up soon.